For today, we're really going to take more of a solid look at the web client as it has to deal with call queuing and specifically with being a call manager as well as being a call agent and sort of what to expect when that happens. So I'm going to start over here in the upper right hand corner where you can see the word available, and then there's also the profile picture. And then what we'll do is we'll work our way back around. And so once we get there, we'll do some live call simulations. Once you log in using the web client credentials that you got in your welcome email from 3CX, you'll be able to enter your extension in as well as the password that is generated. Once logged in, this is the screen that you will be welcome to, and we'll start off by taking a look at the top corner. If you click on this, it may not have a photo in there. It depends on whether you come into this change profile image or not, but it'll show you what your name and extension is. It'll let you change the password should you need, allow you to resend credentials, download apps. If you're using a soft phone on your cellular phone, you'll be able to scan the QR code directly from here. And this will actually let you just use your phone to scan it, and then it'll program the phone for you. So it's always nice and handy, real easy to get to, as well as getting right to your settings screen and of course logging out. What makes 3CX and all other voice over IP systems very unique is their dependence on something called presence. With presence, this allows us to set up call forwarding rules based on what we are trying to accomplish. These rules can be set up so that not only do they take us away from a call queue if we know we need to walk away from our desks, but they can also be used for something more long-term as, let's say, a business trip. Each one of these profiles actually represents a different call flow, and we'll take a quick peek at that, but we did sort of cover that in the live training. You can also go through and you can add custom status messages as well. When you mark yourself as away or do not disturb, you will no longer take phone calls. It will go directly to wherever you want that call to go to. Which could be a cellular telephone, could be straight to voicemail, and could even be to another extension. You can also go through and you can set a status temporarily. So perhaps you know that you are only going to be gone for about 15 minutes. You can change your status away, and this way you don't forget to log back in when you sit back at your desk. Actually, a really great feature. Moving forward, where it says web client here, the web client is actually what phone we are controlling. The 3CX web client allows us to not only control and use our smartphone as the endpoint that we're going to manage, it can also use the web browser. And what we'll actually end up doing here in just a moment is installing the browser extension, which will make things even easier for us. And we can alternate between those. If you have a desk phone, you will also be able to see your desk phone that's been assigned to you and click on this. And of course, that means that anytime you answer a call or dial out, it will send that to that phone. Whatever is showing up here or has the little filled in circle, that is the phone that you'll be using. Next over is our queue status. Now, this is a global queue status to say whether you want to be logged in or logged out. If I don't want to be in any queue, I can click on this and you'll notice that the queue has turned green or has turned gray. That means that I am not logged into any of my queues. When I click on it again, it is blue, and that blue means that I am logged into any of my what we call implicitly logged in queues. There is a way to override this on a per queue basis. So perhaps if you're assigned to multiple queues, if you manually log out of another queue, it won't toggle that automatically for you. But if you're logged into a queue, this will control whether you're in or out from a top level view, if that makes sense. Next up, there is a keypad here. I don't necessarily find as much value to that unless you're using more of a tablet-based device, especially since anything that you do can be typed in over here. and you can hit enter to make your call dial out. You just go ahead, you can type in the name or the phone number or even the extension you want to dial. If you're dialing an extension or it's something that gets recognized, it will pop up and you can actually go ahead and click on it and it'll dial out and go wherever we need to go. If it's in the phone book, it will also show up here. Of course, we can even say if we want this to be by the name, we can of course search by that as well. Moving towards the big area here, we're in the people section. The people section shows all of the sort of internal switchboards that we have. Also indicates their status. So we have our green, red, whatever they pick over in the upper right-hand corner. What's real important about this is if you have the permissions to do so, these little triple dots allow you to help set status if somebody forgets to log in or log out. This is specifically for presence. Queue managers will also have the ability to log users in and out specifically of queues, and we'll be spending most of our time tackling that. We discussed how there's the contact screen, we have our chat module, call history, if we need to use that, as well as visual voicemail. But for the purposes of today, what we'll do is once you first log in, I strongly recommend that if you're using the latest version of Microsoft Edge or Chrome, you'll have the ability to install the 3CX browser extension. This is will make your experience much easier and allow you to be able to interact with the phone system. It'll be able to send you toast notifications and what have you. And so what we'll do, it's as easy as once you're logged in, we click on the install browser extension. We'll click on this, it'll tell us why we really want to do it, but I'm telling you, you really want to do it. And we'll go ahead and we'll add it to Chrome. And we say add extension. Once that's added, we can go back into 3CX and you'll notice that now where it said install it is turned red, and that means activate. Now, of course, that extension's in there. It has no idea what phone system that it needs to talk to. So this red button will actually configure the extension for you. So we'll do this, and now I'm all set, and you'll notice that my phone that's selected is browser extension. This will give us our best experience when using the phone system. Now let's dive into a little bit of what it's like to deal with managing calls when they come in through the switchboard. Now the switchboard gives us the opportunity to view any and all the calls that are going on. We don't have to sit on this screen, but of course we absolutely could. When a new call comes in, the phone system has actually tried to contact me, and you'll see this is what the extension looks like. We have our phone call coming in from, it's now trying the next extension who's logged in. And if that can't work, then what will happen there is it will just stay in queue and try and over until we're available. Now, if you find that you really like this screen, you can pop out any of these queue calls using this button right here. And this will actually show you, and you can keep this on a dedicated screen or in the corner, gives you an idea of who's sitting in that queue, what's going on. And why don't we go ahead and we'll answer this call this time. So now that I've answered the call, I can go ahead and I can place this on hold. I can hang up right here. We can add this to the conference. And of course, we talked a little bit about the transferring. If I want to do a blind transfer, that's this button. If I want to do an attended transfer, I can do that. So perhaps I take this phone call and I talk to this person. I can go ahead and I can hit transfer. And then I can say that I want to transfer this to one of my coworkers. I can either pick their voicemail or directly to their extension. I'll pick the person, transfer the call. That's all there is when there's using the web client. Let's go ahead and let's grab our other call here. We'll answer our next phone call. And what we have when we're taking a look at our switchboard and managing our phone calls, if you are just an agent on the queue, you'll notice that at the bottom, we have some statistics here. Now, these statistics may be a little bit different for you. If you are just if you're an agent in the system, this will show you what your statistics are so you have a good idea of how long you're spending on the phone. However, if you are a queue manager, the queue manager will be able to see the overall queue details for each queue. So if I dial right into our demo queue that we have sitting here, you can see I have my list of phone calls that are sitting in the calls. We can see that Spike is on the phone with this phone number, and it is an external call, how long that call's been going on, and the overall status there. On the right-hand side, I can see who all is logged into this particular queue. And if I'm an agent, only my name will have the ability for me to click on these queues. If you're a queue manager, I can toggle out. And so if I want, I can say, you know what, Jet, he actually forgot to sign out for the day. So as a queue manager, I can click that and I can force him out. Where this makes a big difference is if you log out of a queue, whether on your own because you're a member of multiple queues, or because you're a queue manager, this can affect whether you are globally logged in. So if I were to explicitly log out of this queue and I log out here, when I go to log back in, I may not be signed into that queue because I explicitly logged out of this one. It's sort of an all or nothing is what this button is. If I've already said I'm specifically logging out of a queue, the system remembers that. If that seems like that could be a bit much, we can always come back into the queue calls and you can see exactly what queues each person is logged into, including yourself. And you can say, oh, I'm missing that queue. And you just pick the queue on the left-hand side that you are an agent for, and you go ahead and click the queue next to your name. For right now, these statistics that are down here are going to automatically reset every month, but of course we can change that based on what we're noticing in terms of trends, and that'll give us a lot of information in terms of how well we can help people out and how quickly we can get people to their destination inside the company. Another great feature with this is really again for the queue managers. For queue managers, there is the wallboard. You can put a simple text header as well as some subtext if you wanted as well. So you could say our wallboard resets first of every month, whatever. This is really designed so that it could go on a dedicated screen or perhaps on a dedicated television, whatever, and it'll show you the active time. It'll show you how many people are waiting, how many agents are actually on the phone, how many calls have been answered, how many calls have actually been lost, as well as the waiting time. 3CX allows us to also set up what are called SLAs. So if a phone call has been on hold for too long, but hasn't quite reached what we call timeout, we can trigger an SLA, which will send an email to the queue manager and say, look, this phone number was on hold for this long, and you know that we try to answer ahead of that. You can also receive a phone call for each person who abandons the queue. It is unable to know if it'll be undiscerning as to whether or not that person hung up or if that person is disconnected or if they reach the timeout. Those calls will all be considered lost. So a great way to keep track of everything that is going on within there.